All right, my friends, so quick exercise. Now imagine the bouncing ball as the hips. What we're going to do are quick exercises, figure eights, zeros, rounds, whatever, yeah. So normally the hips, they always move up in a nice flow when you're walking, or when you're in an idle in a game, there's always a kind of nice round little curves going on. Or there's figure eights as well, coming back when you're doing like combat idols, like there's always this kind of movement. And these are known as little arcs. So when you get the root of the movement working correctly, then you can work from the up and the down of the body. So this is a good exercise to do just to practice arcs. So what I normally do is when I first started animation, so I'd put a keyframe here and I'd put a keyframe at the end, right? And then in the middle, I'd go up. So you've got this kind of arc, up, down, like a bouncing ball, right? Now you might be like, all right, when I come here to number 10, I'm just going to move it out to the left. And as it comes down, number 30, I'm going to move it to the right. And then you've got this nice little arc that you're working with, right? Now, what we'll do here, this is just a little practice I do. I'll just go to cycle. So you're cycling on this side and you're cycling infinity on the other side. And then, because in video games, we do this a lot where if you look when you cycle, you can see these ease-ins happening at the end. And I've mentioned this on some of my courses, the video games courses, is to match the tangents like this. So it's matching. So this basically what it does, it cycles smoothly. So it's a smooth, so they won't be like a slow. So if I undo this, if I can undo it, yeah. Now if you look at the animation here, when it comes down, there's a bit of an ease and a pause there at the bottom, isn't there? Now what you do, if you just make this linear, like smooth, that's smooth, and that's okay. So we got animation on Z and Y, that's it. So if I play it now, you notice it's smoother. That's what that does, the cycle. So it's very important. That's why run cycles, it's very important to know that in run cycles, in idols, because when you come to the end of the idle in a video game, you don't want to see that jerk, because that will catch the eye. Players will see that. So it's always good to keep everything seamless. That's a must. It's just, and you just have to do that. It's a formality. Now, we've done this animation here. Now, what should we do? So let's go back to our tool, and you can see there, right? And now what you can do, you can just go in and edit if you want to just have these the same. Even like the distance here, you could have that the same. So that's your typical arc. So you would have that in the hips like we explained in the last video. Now, you can also change this, right? So you can just select everything. I'm not sure you can scale it, but you can either, I normally do it in the graph editor. So if I come here, I delete this. And I come, so if I just bring this down. So if I look at the movement, side to side movement, what you can do is you can go to Z. You can literally select everything, press, okay, it's selecting everything. Okay, why is that happening? That should be happening. Oh, because I had the curve selected, that's why. Okay, I had the point selected, that's why that was happening. So unselect, select the actual main controller. And then what I would do is, if you want to scale the side bit, make it go smaller, so the semicircle smaller, all you do is you go to select all the points, go to the first bit, press shift and middle button, and scale it from that first point. If I scale it from the top, it's going to scale upward from that point. So you want to do it from the origin, 0. Just put your cursor there and then press shift, middle button, and scale. Now if you look now, you see how that's changed? You can see it in real time, right? So if I scale it back up, look how that's changing, the blue bit. So you can have subtle curves that are like this, really thin in idols, combat idols, what have you, whatever it is. And you can also be like, okay, maybe you want the top bit to be scaled down. So there's smaller arcs like this. And then you can start doing your breathing exercises from the top up, bottom down. And then you can practice all kinds of different curves. So then what we can do is we can go back here, delete everything. So we go to 0. Let's delete everything. And then in the Explorer, you can delete the motion trail that you've created. So it's all a clean scene again. And everything's zeroed. And what you can do now is you can practice different arcs. So we can be like, okay, at 1 it's there. At 5, I want it to be figure 8. So we might want it up here. Keyframe. At 9, we want it down. So we'll just quickly do this. And then here, we'll just put in all these, let's just put in all these poses. Then we can fix it later. So we're coming back here. And then the end pose is here, right? So you've got this kind of, it's a bit messy at the moment. But what we'll do, we'll just go into the visualize tool again. And we can see here, right? There's this, it's not exactly a figure 8. But we can start playing with this now. Okay, we can go through all the keyframes we just went through. And go in and be like, okay, we want this to be in the middle, coming up here. So we're trying to make a figure 8. And then push this back. And then push this up. So we're just trying to get a figure 8 going here. This will be in the middle. And then this can be like around here. And then the start pose, we can bring that down. And then we can copy that to the start. And then we can bring this in. Okay, still. Just refining middle. Or I would even say this middle one. Bring this back a bit. So we've got one. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Move that here. Move that out. Guess we can move this one here. So we've got 5 points. So maybe we need get another point in here. Yeah, so we've got equal points both ways. Okay, so you've got a little arc there happening. Now if we look here, just put that at 0, 0. 40. Okay, so we'll just move this back. We'll just put these on 4s, right? All of these on 4s. So let's just move all these keyframes. So they're hitting 4s. And that's hitting 4 as well. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Now what we can do, we can go in here. So if we delete these middle ones, we'll start to just make things a bit more smoother. And then even here. So if we look here, we'll just cycle these. So we're cycling these. And then we can be like, okay. So if we check this value, to this value, copy, we can copy these over. So we're copying this value here, because it's at the low end, to this value here, so they're the same. and then also with the top. If we look here, this is what? 0.3, we copy that, bring it here. And then slowly, like this is the top end, 0.5 top. So we would say this one. Copy it there. Same here, this one. Copy that over here. Just copying values, that's all you're doing. And then you can spline this as well by pressing this spline. This makes sure the tangents are smooth as well. And then slowly you will see the curve getting more smoother as well. See the circle here? And it's like a figure eight. And then you can just refine how you like. But these are just little exercises you can do. And that's how you got to think of the hips and the body. And then we move on to the upper torso. We start talking about that, how that connects to it, how you can start animating that. But the main cog, center of gravity, is the hips. So this ball, I say the ball, but it's actually this point, like I always stressed. It's this point that you're looking at in Maya. Even when you do this in the transform, so if I get rid of the handle, whenever you're transforming, you're looking at this point right in the middle when you're polishing. Not the overall ball. I used to be confused it was the overall ball. You can see the hips as the overall ball, but if you can master that, polishing that point, when it comes to polishing the animation, you will see a lot more of your work really polished with all the good poses in. And then at the end, you start polishing all this. All right, guys, so this is just an exercise that you guys can do. Rigs in the description and everything, or you can use your own rig. You can use a character rig, just hide everything and just use the hips if you like. But I think the ball is a good way of... and then when you make it, I was going to show you actually, when you do it. So again, when you do that, you're like, okay, I want it to be thinner. So then you select everything. Again, go to the first point here. Select everything, press shift, middle button, and R for scale. Same way as you would put scale here. Press scale here, rotation R, yeah? So again, you go back, select everything. R for rotation, scale, then shift, middle mouse button. See, you can bring it. You can have your curves even more subtle like this. Now, what do I mean? What do I mean about like the idol here? Well, let me show you. There is an example here. Okay, guys. So that's the power you have. And then when you go to this, you can scale the Z2 and it will bring it. Sometimes you want it on the spot, but it's still the same. Moving the same. So do these exercises and then go back in and scale how you'd like. Just really get used to this. And then you can start applying this to your models, which you'll see later on in the courses as well, in this class, sorry. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next lesson.